And I see the return feed up there, so you can just, whenever I see the one up of me, I'll just start talking. Hey everyone, so we are here live at NAB. My name is Phil from Epiphan Video. We have John Barker here in the booth. Well, not actually in the booth. He is remotely joining us from Sweden today for a short little interview. But yeah, John, so how are you doing today? Just tell me a little bit about how you're doing. Let's start there.
Yeah, good first question. I'm doing good. I'm actually quite sad not to be there, to be honest with you. I've been seeing all the video content, and I'm looking forward to more live streams like this coming out of NAB. And I went to IBC last year here in Europe, so I'm super jealous not to be there, walking around, getting all my steps in, and seeing some familiar faces.
Well, we will have you here today, and we have little videos, little clips of you around our booth. But let's just kind of get into a little bit more of the meaty questions. So, John, we know you very well. Your audience knows you very well too. But our audience might not know you as well as we do. So, tell me a little bit about what you do. Tell me a little bit about your channel. Go ahead.
Yeah, primarily I make YouTube videos and I make production software for this industry, AV professionals and maybe just amateurs getting into this kind of stuff. I really started out as a not really someone who wanted to make software or necessarily YouTube videos. I was doing a lot of event coverage and live streaming myself, and then I started watching live streams about coding, and I started getting into a little bit of building applications, and then I also wanted to make some videos about all the equipment that I had, and it just spiraled into this, years later, where I am also creating software for video productions, live stream graphics, and planning tools. And then I also have all the YouTube live videos and sort of tutorials on how to use this equipment and get the most out of it. So it's a bit of a all over the place, doing all sorts of things. But it is my full-time job, sitting here making videos or sitting over there and developing applications.
So, I'm really interested to hear a little bit about the live event industry in Sweden right now. I've never been to Sweden before. I don't know what you kind of do for live events over there. So just tell me a little bit about that industry.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixture. I guess these days I tend to say no to a lot of jobs. I'm kind of in the luxury that I can say no because I'm so busy working on the software. But I'm still out there doing jobs where I can. And most of the time, at the minute anyway, a lot of the jobs that I'm doing are still the classic in-person events where it's like a one-day conference or a one-day meetup or things like that. And the people I work for have a lot of equipment, but they don't necessarily have many professionals that use the equipment, that know how to use it, not only just as like a video switcher, as in the job video switching, but they also look for somebody who kind of knows a bit of audio, a little bit of camera, a sort of all-rounder, and those are the kind of jobs that I end up going towards. And typically there's like one or two people sort of in this post-pandemic world where there's one or two people still zooming in or teamsing into the event. But a lot of the events that I'm doing around here are pretty heavy on the recording locally, just like we were doing, 4 or 5 years ago, with a little bit of the hybrid stuff mixed in there, here and there.
So remote production and remote contribution are big buzzwords around NAB this year. That's something that we're really focusing on here. Obviously, Epiphan is all about broadcasting without barriers, contributing from anywhere, producing from anywhere. So that's what we're doing here today. We are really in one of the locations where you have the most barriers ever. Internet is not great on the trade show floor. There's a lot of background noise. Clearly, people are walking around. People are coming up to our booth. Really interested to see what we're doing. But we're just trying to kind of break those barriers. We really eat our own dog food here at Epiphan. Just a little bit about remote production for you. Like how has, I know you mentioned that some people join your events over Zoom and stuff. How has that remote production aspect of it really like change your work, or remote contribution rather, sorry. How does that remote contribution aspect change your workflow? What kind of tools do you use to bring that in? Is it just usually like a laptop that's running Zoom, or are there any other ways that you kind of do it? I know you're a clever guy, and I'm sure you have like some kind of way to really make it a little easier for you or for your end users, your customers.
Yeah, I think at this point I've probably tried almost all the methods out there. You know, the Zoom farm pinning. I've had some experiments here on the YouTube channel with the Zoom ISO, creating isolation of each person joining a Zoom call. I've done vMix call. I've done some AWS in the cloud style productions. So I really have tried all the options. Well, maybe not all the options, but many of the options to get that stuff working. And I think a lot of it, maybe a year ago, was still trying to figure all that stuff out. But it's really nice to see so many solutions finally maturing a bit more now, where you can actually run things on the cloud and it's not quite so scary. You don't have to spin up your own AWS instances. I remember trying to do that, and it took me so long to spin them up that I was terrified that I made a mistake in the 500 steps it took me to get that far. So it is nice to see some maturity happening in this space. And I know the next time I have a job that I can do from here, where it is remote production, I don't have to log into my own account and spin up some instance that I've had dormant for a few years now. I can actually maybe grab something off the shelf and use that instead. It's quite nice.
So cloud-based tools, that's been also a really big buzzword around NAB this year. I'm pretty sure that you have your own cloud-based tool that you developed. Do you want to talk about that one a little bit?
Definitely, I'm happy to. So I've been working on graphic solutions for as long as I've been developing stuff. It's something I've really wanted to have my own version of, and I've built my own H2R graphics tool. And then early this year, I also launched my cloud version of that, GFX.live. The idea being there where I take all of what I've learned from a offline application of a sort of what I hope to be at least a simple entry solution for graphics where you could just jump in, create stuff fast and easy. And then I've taken that and just sort of brought it onto the cloud. I wish it was just as easy as pushing onto the cloud. I've made a few versions of it over the last 6 to 12 months, but finally at the start of this year, I felt like it was the version that I wanted it to be, where it takes all of the good stuff from H2R graphics, which is like get in there fast and do stuff, but it makes it even easier because now you don't even have to download anything. You can just press the create project button on the homepage and then you're already creating your project, and you don't have to sign in. You can just use that and maybe just leave it at the end of your show.
So my next question for you would have been, what makes a good titling tool? But you kind of already answered that with your last question, with your last answer. So I'm just going to skip that one and go straight to the last one that I have for you today. Where do you see the live events industry going in the next 5 years?
I've been really enjoying the jobs that I've had to do from here in my space. So I have a decent internet connection here, and I've set up all of my equipment to work nicely in this fixed location. And when someone comes along and asks me to take this equipment out of this room, I always get a bit sad, and I tend to say no or point them in the direction of somebody else. But for me, if it heads in the direction where they're not even asking that, where they're just saying, are you available that day, and can you either run this show from your office or maybe even from home, but I know my internet's not great there. If I could just sit here and work on some other things during lunch, do a production in the morning or evening, and just in this one location, I'd really be happy that way. So the more we push that direction, the more in the future I'll be happy to see that.
That's the key. People don't want to travel. People just want to stay at home and do all their work from home. And I'm totally in that same boat. I wish I could be at the trade show from home, but I really can't. So, well, hey, thank you so much, John, for coming on to the show today and being a part of our little production. We've had a lot of fun here making videos and recording content, really pushing that barrier, pushing all the barriers that are in place at a trade show. And I hope it turned out okay. I hope it sounded okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on again, John, and I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It sounded and looked great to me. I could hear you, and I wouldn't even know you were on a show floor, to be honest. So I think that's a good thing, and I'm quite keen maybe next time to be sitting beside you. But it's pretty handy that I don't have to go anywhere and I could just be here and we can chit chat, which is nice.
Hopefully we can have an in-person interview at IBC which is coming up
Yeah.
pretty soon, I believe, in a few months' time. And that one's in Amsterdam, right? So that's not,
Yeah,
not too
September
far
in
away from
Amsterdam.
you.
Exactly.
Great. Hopefully we can see you there in person.
Mhm.
Thanks again for coming on to the show, John. Talk
Thanks.
to you soon.